So when should you settle a car accident claim? So hi, I'm Chris Nicolaysen from Springs Law Group, and as a lawyer and a personal injury attorney, it's one of those questions that we get quite often is when should we actually, when in the process should we settle this case? And the reality is it depends, and there's a ton of different variables that go into play on deciding, when the right time to settle is, and sometimes there actually isn't a perfect time to settle, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. So settlement can depend on a lot of different factors. It can depend on, and a lot of it really is based on you, but it can depend on, one is your emotional state and how tired you are of doing it all. Number two, it can depend on how you're feeling physically, and maybe you want to continue treating, you need more treatment, things like that. And then additionally too, it could be a thing as well as when do we settle? Well, do we settle, maybe it can be based on the numbers as well. I know that the insurance limits are X amount, my medical bills are now approaching Y, so they're higher. So maybe it is time to settle out and do it from a proactive approach that way as well. So there are a ton of different factors on settlement. But let's say, for example, that you have a really large amount of medical bills and then you go to the insurance company and try to settle, but they're only offering you half of that amount. So then I would say it's actually not a good time to settle. And that would be a time where you wouldn't settle, you would actually file a lawsuit instead and potentially end up going to a jury trial where there's not a settlement at all, but a jury will ultimately come through with a verdict either for or against you. But you're like, hey, I couldn't ever settle with that because they weren't actually coming to the table to settle the case. They weren't giving a good faith settlement offer. And so it's one of those things I would think about, but there are multiple variables to think about if you're looking to settle a case. And if you do that, the thing I would recommend then, even if you've not used an attorney throughout your whole case, is reach out to a law firm and talk to them about that, because there's certain things you may be thinking about that may not be the right way to settle. There's kind of an art of negotiating and figuring that out, and it's something that personal injury lawyers do every day. So if you have a question about settlement, when is the right time to settle your car crash claim, let us know. You can reach out to us here at Springs Law Group and we're happy to help.